Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. In my previous video, I was giving the brief introduction about Nada Bindu Kala and Bindu Kala and its introduction as to what exactly really happens and what is Bindu Kala and Nada Bindu Kala and how exactly it works about. Now let's closely observe. As I gave the introduction about Saptaswaras and Ekaswara, Dviswara, Triswara, Chaturaswara, Panchamaswara, Ashtamaswara, Shashtamaswara, Saptamaswara, Ashtamaswara, Navamaswara, Dashamaswara, Ekadashamaswara, Dwadashamaswara. And they touch prana, apana, samana, respectively. Now let's take the subject much further before even going ahead and explaining about the Ekaswara and Dviswara. It's a small note and disclaimer, though. See, I am not a trained musician. I didn't learn anything from any of the gurus or anything like that. All of it, which I am telling, is with the Divine Mother's grace, as I said. So kindly forgive me in case if there are any mistakes, and I would really appreciate anyone to get to my notice. It's a humble request. Now, today, in this 21st century, in this century, right through the very human existence, million years, or it could be like even more than that, even more than that. Okay, when this earthly existence came into picture, when there was no civilization or there is no proper kind of you know human structure or relationship, I don't think so there could be any obstacles with regards to living a peaceful, harmonious life and a happy life wherein he or she, both of them, understood each other properly. But as colonies and civilizations started evolving, what not everything happened, right? That's when the real thing started. And that's when the Natya Shastra was actually like, first, in precise, if you really see, Natya Shastra was actually told to Parvati Devi. Who was that? Natya Brahma and Natya Sutradhara. Now, here is the real thing, ladies and gentlemen. That Prakriti and the Purusha aspect when it came, right? I was talking about Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Mascharya aspects and Rati Bhava, or Rati Bhava or Shoka Bhava or Krodha Bhava or any kind of bhavas, all kinds of bhavas which give rise to Anubhava. Now, here is where actually, like, one needs to understand the very part of psychology from the psyche, psychology, psychosis, psychometry, psychiatry. So, that we need to understand. Parvati Devi asks one question. Swami, you have created Prakriti and Purusha as Amshas, or male and female as Amshas. Fine. They are both the embodiments representing me and you, Shiva and Parvati, Durga Devi, Lalita Devi, whatever you say. Why are we talking about these Saptaswaras, Saregama, Padhani, Sanida, Pamagaresa, and Anudartha, Dartha aspect, and you know, Ekaswara, Dviswara, Triswara, Chatraswara, Panchamaswara, Shashtamaswara, Saptamaswara, Ashtamaswara, Navamaswara, Dashamaswara, Ekadashamaswara, Dwadashamaswara. Why should one be talking about what do they really do? And what is this Bindukala? Why Bindukala has to be like that spiritual confluence of male and female, two amshas on the earthly existence. And so-called, as per medical terminology, sexual relation, a sexual intercourse. Why that should happen for that, Anu and Paramanu. Though I was explaining these factors and co-factors in brief to give you that introduction. Okay. Now the real story of Natya Shastra starts here, which one needs to understand. And this is where actually like Shiva or Purusha or Natya Brahma or Natya Sutradhara says as follows to Prakriti or Parvati. See, Parvati Devi, you need to understand one thing. I being a benefactor for Srishti Laya Jati, which you need to understand by large. You being sole benefactor for the understanding of beauty from inside and outside, which is clearly stated, which has been clearly stated in Lalita Sahasranama, Antarmukha Samarati Bahirmukha. Shri Mata, Shri Maharagni, Shrimat Simhasaneshwari, Chidagni Kunda Sambhuta, Daiva Karya Samudyata, Udyadbhanu Sasrava, Chaturpahu Samantita, Ragaswarupa Pashadya, Krodha Karang Kushochvala, Manorupekshu Kodanda, Panchatanmatra Sam. Now, having spoken about all of this, all of you might think, why am I talking now afresh from the story point of view? So far, I was talking about the very factors and co-factors and what are those governing requisites or prerequisites in short, but explained everything in detail to make you understand exactly why Purusha or Prakriti's existence needs to be. That is the point. Okay. Coming to the point now. When Purusha or Shiva was explaining, he says, see Parvati Devi, Saptaswaras are about 7 swaras. Shadjamam, Rishabham, Shadjamam to Shadjamam, Rishabham, Gandharam, Nishadham, to name a few. Though these have been actually given at a later stage by these scholars or whatever it is. But in precise, if you really say, I don't really think so. These Saptaswaras even existed, but still, if you really see, all of these Saptaswaras or whatever it is are based on the Bijaksharas. And that's where actually, like Shiva says to Parvati Devi, that these Bijaksharas, A, U, Ma, Akara, Ukara, Makara Bija, are what actually constitute the very composition of the whole of the Saptaswaras. Now, Sa being the foundation for the Nada Bindu yoga process, Parvati Devi, which you need to understand. And this is for everyone who is learning music. Ra being at a higher note, though Ra, 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 lower, Na, Ma, Ma, Ga, Ga, Ga. Both of these, if you really see, Ga and Ma, they need to be regulated. Why these regulations for Ga and Ma and Pa? One may ask. They hold a very special place. Strong Ma, strong Ga or Gha or strong Pa. If you really see, if they come together, they form a Makara Bija, which is what Shiva is trying to explain to Parvati Devi. So one needs to understand strong Ma, strong Pa, or strong Ga really are the key points for a musician to understand. That is first thing. And second thing, the da, dha, da, na, na, ana. These sounds regulate the very body by all means from the viewpoint of maintaining that calmness. Okay. In the mind at the highest conscious level. If one practices this, believe me, you would really get to a stage. Thus, this is what is called Nada Bindu Kala. K-A-L-A. Kala, Kala. If Kakara gets Akara, Kala, it becomes Kala. If Kakara is added with Akara, Akara, Ka, it becomes Ka, Kala. Kala and Kala both have one difference, which is nothing but Kala is something which is related to Srishti Laya Jati Gati. Kala is that time and space travel, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to understand in the Nada Bindu Kala. To get connected to that Bindu, okay, from the Nada aspect, if one starts with the very first note, Sa, that's enough, ladies and gentlemen, which you need to understand. Okay. Now, here practically, if we see, we are generating that energy deep within the body with the repetition of these sounds. The, 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 da, ha, tha, na, 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 dha, ni, dha, ni, dha, ni. So these are like, I am using Dviswara. Okay. These are like, so here is where actually when you repeat those swaras, that's when you get that energy. Which energy I am talking about? That Makara Bija's energy, which is the highest level. And this is what actually Shiva is trying to explain to Parvati Devi about that Nada Bindu aspect, ladies and gentlemen, which you will need to understand. That is first part. These are like Ekaswaras. Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni. These are Ekaswaras. Ni, Da, Pa, Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. In Avarohana and Arohana also, I am trying to do that. When we do this way, this is where actually you get connected from the Bindu point of view using the Nada sound. By the way, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. All of these are Bijaksharas. And Akara, only Akara is added to this. Now let's see Dviswaras. Okay. Ha, U, Ha, U, Ha, U, Ha. These are basically used when they are pronouncing in Vedas. Ha, Hu, Ha, Ha, Hu, Ha. I am using Akara and Ukara. Aha, Ma, Aha, Ma, Na, Ma, Ha, Ma, Na, Ma, Ha, Ma, Nam. What am I trying to do over here? This is what you need to understand. To explain you this. Aha, oho, a, u, aha, uha, uha, aha, uha, uha, va, soha, so, sonum, sohano, jatam, nahati, to name a few of the Bijaksharas, wherein these are the basic sounds that I found out during my Googling when I Googled and I found out these were found in the Samaveda. Now, okay. Ga, Re, Re, Ga, Re, Ni, Dha, Ni, Dha, Ni, again Dha, Pa, Pa, Ma, Pa, Ma, A, Aha, Sa, Ma, Ana, A, Da, Na, Ma, Ana, Da, Aha, Ma, Ana, Da, Da, Ha, Sa, Re, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa, ma, ga, re, sa, re, sa. If we see, and if we see what we are doing, we are pronouncing by clubbing two swaras. The energy level increased by and large. Though here the issue is at times these swaras which I am talking about are basically used for a negative purpose. I mean black magic or something like that. I have seen this happening practically when I went to a Chota Nikkera Bhagavati temple in Kerala. So we need to use these swaras for a positive sense. As a note and disclaimer, I'm telling, try to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. This is where Tantra and Mantra aspects come into being, ladies and gentlemen. You need to understand this. Tantra and Mantra are the key aspects of these sound modulations. Point number one. When Pa and Sa come together, subtler Pa and subtler Sa come together, the energy turns positive. That's okay. If you start practicing this, like that of Hansa Soham, Soham Hamsa, thus creating the positive atmosphere in and around. Likewise, Da and Pa, when we use subtler Da and subtler Pa, subtler Ni and subtler Pa, subtler Dha and subtler Pa, 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 Ni plus Pa, higher note. I am talking all of these at higher notes. This gives those energy levels which are far beyond the reach. Not every one of us can really take these energy levels, ladies and gentlemen. Only very few can take control over that. Because once these energy levels touches at Agnya Chakra, from Agnya Chakra it goes to the Sahasrara. So for that you need to first practice. So these swaras also are having negative effect, but you need to understand and categorize. To name a few, okay. And in case if you are using them in a positive sense, believe me, from inside and outside, you will be a absolute pure individual person. You need to understand this. Likewise, some more like subtler. These are subtler sounds, okay? Ga, ma, ga, re, sa, ni, pa, ma, ga, ma, ga, re, da, pa, ma, ga, re, ni, da, pa, da, ma, pa, ma, re, sa, ni, dha, na, dha, na, dha, na, da, na, da, pa, ma, pa, ga, ma, ga, re. Okay, now, as I was talking about, right? All of these sounds now. Now, when ga, pa, and ma in combination happens, and you practice, the effect on the body, mind and soul is like overwhelming, leading one to the very highest level of knowledge mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand this. Point number one. And this is the state, like, where one really gets that self realization point. However, I will be speaking about Triswaras, Chaturaswaras, Panchamaswaras. Okay, in my next video. And a word of caution for anyone trying to go beyond Ashtamaswara, Navamaswara, Dashamaswara, Ekadashamaswara, Dwadashamaswara. These are not so easy to be catching up with, but very few could do that. The reason is the amount of energy that sprouts out, or amount of energy that comes up deep within. Specifically, when you are using the strong tha, strong na, strong ni, strong pa, or strong tha, all the words kakha, gagha, na, cha, cha, ja, cha, na, pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. These, if you are using at a stronger level, that effect is really more, ladies and gentlemen. Not every one of us can handle that, or would be able to handle that. You need to have that extraordinary level to catch up point. That's the point which I want to say. Though if you want to try, you can try, but it requires a lot of sadhana though. There are very few, like, very few of them who could do it. And these levels are mostly again used for the negative purposes only. If you really had seen, or I have really seen, what you call, live, when they were performing a homas in Chota Nikkara Bhagavati during my Sabarimala travel. Okay, they pronounce words. That's the strength. Okay. Om Swaha, Om Swaha, like this. They stress that way. So, in these, in short, if I really talk more about this, about the Ekaswara and Dviswara, as I was explaining, one really needs to start with a subtler. Sa pa sa pa sa pa sa pa sa ni sa ni sa ni sa sa dha sa da sa da sa sa pa sa dha sa da sa ni sa sa re sa re ga ma re ga ma re ga ma re ga ma pa ma da da ni sa. If you start this way, what happens is you will start getting that focus of the mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beauty of this Saptasvaras. Now, coming to the point of all of these which I am explaining, right? This is something a very much cryptic language. It's a cryptic language which gets this male and female who are embodiments of Prakriti and Purusha or amshas of Shiva and Parvati respectively to get us connected to that highest level. One needs to one needs to get connected to that godly existence, which is both form and formless. Again, the very question of Tasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema comes into picture. So, over here, if we really look at when Shiva explained all of this to Parvati Devi, he said, there is one mantra which really gets me connected with this male and female so-called amshas of me and you. That's bijaksharas. Which bijakshara? Akara, ukara, makara. As I was explaining in my previous video. Akara, akara, ikara, ikara, ukara, ukara, amkara, makara. So when these saptaswaras, are when we add akara to sakara, akara to rakara, akara to gakara, akara to makara, subtler, akara to dakara, akara to dhakara, akara to nakara. These sounds, first are the foundation stone, which one needs to understand, which I say are ekaswaras. These swaras I was actually like explained you as I was explaining. Though I will be explaining you much further about the sounds and its effects. And Parvati Devi's and Shiva's conversation, which furthermore he talks about. Right now, he was talking about how male and female who are embodiments of Prakriti and Purusha can get connected with us. Furthermore, he talks about and how exactly Shyama Shastri, Shyama Shastri and Bhakta Ramdas, Muthuswami Dikshit used these signs of sounds or used bijaksharas. What was so great about them? I will be talking in my next video. Till then, stay blessed and have a real blissful life. May the Guru's grace be with you. Have a nice day ahead.